Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Kat Dennings, from indie darling to sitcom mainstay, Kat Dennings has carved out a place in Hollywood as one of the industry's most distinctive on-screen voices. Known for her sharp comedic timing, expressive deadpan delivery, and unmistakable presence, she's managed to move comfortably between indie films, studio blockbusters, and TV comedies without ever feeling like she's compromising her style. Dennings, born Catherine Litwack in 1986, grew up in Pennsylvania and moved to Los Angeles in her teens to pursue acting. She started off with small television roles before breaking into film with a run of mid-2000s projects that showcased her knack for playing whip-smart, emotionally grounded characters. Movies like The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, and Charlie Bartlett helped her build a reputation as an offbeat standout in ensembles. Her biggest mainstream splash came with the hit CBS sitcom Two Broke Girls, where she played Max Black, a sarcastic, streetwise waitress who paired perfectly with Beth Behrs' Caroline Channing. The show ran for 6 seasons and cemented Dennings as a comedic lead who could carry a network half-hour with ease. Around the same time, Dennings entered the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Darcy Lewis in Thor and Thor, The Dark World. At first a supporting comedic character, Darcy's fan-favorite status grew over time. Her return in WandaVision brought a wave of nostalgia for longtime MCU fans and introduced her to a new audience who appreciated her mix of humor and sincerity. Off-screen, Dennings keeps a relatively low public profile compared to many of her peers, though she's known for her witty social media presence, love of animals, and involvement in creative projects outside of acting. Her recent roles highlight a continued interest in character-driven comedy and genre storytelling, hinting at a career that's still evolving. Kat Dennings's appeal lies in the fact that she never seems to be trying to be anything other than herself. Whether she's delivering a sardonic one-liner, grounding a sci-fi plot with relatable warmth, or stepping into a more dramatic moment, she brings a reliability and authenticity that's kept her in demand for nearly 2 decades. Kat Dennings, the unfiltered charm behind Hollywood's favorite deadpan. Kat Dennings has one of those screen presences that sneaks up on you. She doesn't rely on flash or theatrics. Instead, she works in a quieter register built on timing, sincerity, and a sense of humor that feels lived in. She's the kind of actor who can anchor a punchline, crack open a heartfelt moment, and roll her eyes in a way that somehow says everything at once. After 2 decades in the industry, Dennings has become a steady, trusted voice in modern American comedy. From Pennsylvania to primetime born Catherine Litwack, she grew up outside Philadelphia in a creatively supportive household. She was homeschooled, which gave her the freedom to explore acting earlier than most kids her age. By the time she hit her teens, she'd made the classic pilgrimage to Los Angeles, where she picked up a handful of early TV roles on shows like Sex and the City and Raising Dad. Even in those brief appearances, Dennings had a knack for making her scenes feel grounded and slyly funny. Indie film roots. The mid-2000s indie wave gave Dennings the perfect canvas. Films like The 40-Year-Old Virgin put her in front of larger audiences, but it was Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist in 2008 that really showed what she could do. As Nora, she brought emotional texture to a film that could have easily drifted into sugary territory. She made teen romance feel lived in and human. It wasn't just that she had chemistry with co-star Michael Cera. She had a natural, almost conversational rhythm that made her scenes feel like life rather than lines. In Charlie Bartlett and Daydream Nation, she leaned into stories that gave her room to explore vulnerability and edge simultaneously. Her performances during this era built her fanbase among viewers who loved characters with wit and complexity. Sitcom stardom and the rise of Max Black, then came Two Broke Girls, a CBS comedy that paired Dennings and Beth Behrs as two waitresses trying to survive Brooklyn on grit and hustle. Max Black, Dennings's character, became one of the more recognizable sitcom personalities of the 2010s. She was sharp-tongued, warm-hearted, and allergic to pretense. The show struck a nerve with audiences who loved its mix of escapist humor and scrappy relatability. Dennings handled the weekly grind of network comedy with an ease that's harder than it looks. Not many actors can deliver high-speed jokes for 6 seasons without slipping into caricature, but she managed to keep Max a real person, moody, loyal, and low-key sensitive under her armor of sarcasm. A Marvel surprise parallel to her sitcom success, Dennings continued her run as Darcy Lewis in Marvel's Thor films. Darcy started out as the comic relief intern who cut through cosmic stakes with dry one-liners. What surprised everyone, including Marvel itself, was how enduringly popular she became. Audiences loved that Darcy felt like the one person in the room willing to call out how bizarre everything was. Her return in WandaVision nearly a decade later felt like a reunion episode with an old friend. She'd evolved from a fumbling intern to an accomplished scientist, but her humor and warmth stayed intact. It was a reminder that Dennings doesn't just play comic roles. She grounds them in real human reactions, which ends up making the larger-than-life stuff feel more believable. A life outside the spotlight. One thing that sets Dennings apart in Hollywood is how she manages to be a public figure without feeling overexposed. She's active on social media but uses it on her own terms, mixing comedic bits with occasional glimpses into her personal life. Fans know she loves animals, vintage fashion, and her various creative hobbies, but she never feels curated or manufactured. The staying power of a modern character actor. What's striking about Kat Dennings is that even at her most recognizable, she's never felt boxed in. Hollywood often pushes distinct personalities into narrow molds, but Dennings has consistently sidestepped that trap. She's funny, yes, but she's not confined to joke delivery duty. She's quirky, but not in a forced, adorkable way. And she's got a confidence that reads as grounded rather than slick. Industry watchers often categorize her as a character actor who happens to have leading lady magnetism. She doesn't chase roles meant to reinvent her. Yet directors and writers gravitate toward her ability to make dialogue pop without overshadowing the story. Her secret strength, emotional temperature control. A big part of her appeal comes from her emotional calibration. She knows how to dial a moment way back or subtly sharpen it, depending on what the scene needs. A tiny shift in her delivery can turn a line from sarcastic to vulnerable or from exasperated to affectionate. This control creates performances that feel approachable because they mirror how people actually talk. In comedy, this matters. In drama, it matters even more. It's why she transitions so well between the two. Even when a script leans broad, Dennings brings a lived-in realism that keeps her characters from becoming cartoons. The online fandom effect. Dennings's fanbase operates a bit differently from the typical celebrity fandom. They're not loud in a chaotic way. They're devoted, observant, and especially attuned to her brand of humor, which blends self-awareness, internet-native sensibility, and a hint of gothic whimsy. Her presence online isn't the packaged polish many celebrities default to. She'll post a candid cat moment, a random observation about snacks, or a deadpan reaction that turns into a meme. This kind of sincerity, especially in a social media landscape full of over-curated personas, is a big reason fans feel close to her. When she reappeared in WandaVision, The internet erupted with a kind of collective joy that doesn't happen unless a performer has built years of goodwill. An actress who ages with her audience, Dennings's career has tracked the emotional timeline of her original viewers. The teens who watched Nick and Nora became the 20-somethings who followed Two Broke Girls, who then became adults nostalgic enough to cheer her Marvel return. This is a rare arc. Many actors struggle to maintain relevance across shifts in audience life stages, but Dennings's tone has evolved alongside her fans. She's grown up publicly without becoming unrelatable. It's part of what makes her feel dependable. She's matured without losing her sense of humor or her groundedness. Creative horizons beyond acting. While she hasn't made a big, splashy transition into directing or producing yet, people in the industry often mention her as someone whose instincts would translate beautifully behind the camera. She has the sensibility of a storyteller. Her interviews suggest she's drawn to offbeat narratives with emotional bite. Shows that blend humor and melancholy fit her voice naturally. If she chooses to build her own projects, she could easily join the club of actors who reinvent themselves as creative multi-hyphenates. Her taste level hints at future dramedies, character-led genre series, or even darkly comic films. Why she matters right now. Kat Dennings represents something Hollywood needs more of: artistry that feels human scale. She's not trying to be untouchable, or perfect, or aggressively brand forward. She's funny without pandering, expressive without preening, and grounded enough that audiences feel like they know her even if they never will. Her career is proof that longevity isn't just about reinvention. Sometimes it's about consistency, clarity of voice, and a willingness to bring your whole self.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.